Hello again, friends, and welcome to another segment here on Doc G's Wine and Spirits Review. As you can see, a little party has broken out here on the table. Today, I'd like to take you pretty far away from here. Today, we're going to go to New Mexico. If you remember, last April, my wife and I visited New Mexico for a belated anniversary. We celebrated our 45th anniversary in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we came across some great wines there, and now I want to share them with you. So to start that process, I've already cracked a bottle. So let me first say cheers and welcome to a rather snowy day here in northeastern Pennsylvania, southwestern Pennsylvania. And welcome. So today, I'd like to recap some of the wines that we encountered, and even one of the spirits that you see right here in front of me while we were in New Mexico last April, because these are really good. Now, I know you might be concerned before I actually get into this about the availability of these, and I will do that and assure you that you can get these. It might be a little bit of work on your part, but you certainly can find them. One of them is going to be very easy. The other is going to require a little bit of work, as I said. So let me first of all begin by talking about, you think New Mexico would be a rather mundane place to deal with wine. I thought so when we got there, but lo and behold, we found some really good wine. So let me talk about New Mexico wines in general before we start our taste sampling here. New Mexico has about 40 plus wineries, and it's also home to over 50 distilleries. And we visited two. One of them we fell in love with, and you see one of their gins here on the table. The country, or the state, is divided into three major wine regions: the northern wine region, which we visited, the central wine region, and the southern. We did not get to southern New Mexico. We spent our time in Santa Fe, and we had a fantastic time. We were there 10 days. And we also got to visit the northern areas up toward Colorado, place called Taos Pueblo. So those three wine regions are where these 40 wineries exist. A little bit of a historical fact: New Mexico, believe it or not, takes credit for being the oldest wine region in America. In the early 1600s, the Spanish missionaries arrived, and obviously, spreading the Catholic religion, they needed wine for the sacrament and for church. So they planted the first vineyards here in the American continent in 1629 is the year that they're given credit for. And that's 200 years before any other grapevines were planted here in the United States, or we'll say America. So New Mexico is a rather important birthplace for the wine culture in this country. Mexico, just a couple other facts: Mexico's capital is Santa Fe. That's where we stayed. The highest capital by altitude in the country. And I'll tell you what, we thought, oh, well, they told us about dry skin and about the fact that when you're walking around and shopping and doing what you're going to do, if you're not from that kind of climate and you're not a world-class athlete, you're gonna suck for some air. I'll be honest with you, it got so dry we had to have a vaporizer in the condo that we stayed in order to be able to breathe properly at night. That's how dry and how thin the air was. So we had to just take our time when we were walking around. So, and the other two things that I want to talk about that you see here, you see this odd shirt that I'm wearing. This we center it there for you. This symbol is called the Zia. It's the symbol that's on the red. The red Zia is on the yellow backing or gold backing of the New Mexico flag. So if you ever see this symbol, the number 4 is very sacred to the Zia Pueblo. They're an indigenous population in New Mexico, and there's a lot of pride and a lot of history, and there's a lot of laws even around this symbol. I don't want to get too much into that, but the Zia symbol has these 4 prongs to it with actually 4 more smaller prongs on it. And each of those represent the 4 directions, the 4 seasons, the 4 stages of life, and the 4 times of day. And, you could figure those out. I don't have to go into a dissertation about that. I'll post a little bit for you so that you can learn a little bit more. It's very interesting reading if you want to take time to explore the history behind the Zia. And this strange hat I'm wearing, I've become an aficionado of hats as I've gotten a little older. This is a very common traditional hat that's worn you see it all over in New Mexico. It's kind of touristy, but there are a lot of people that will, especially the traditional New Mexicans, that will wear this kind of hat as they're out on the street. Very mixed culture. It's a little bit of Mexican, a little bit of indigenous Native American. It's really a very interesting area for cuisine. And as it turns out, it's interesting for some wine as well. So with that background, let me take another sip and talk about our first wine. You see here, this wine, you probably recognize the label because you can find this. You can find this wine in Pennsylvania. And for my friends that are around the country and around the world, believe it or not, I have people around the world watching my wine blogs. So let's pour it again. The pronunciation of this is Gruet. And the reason I know that is because I researched it. I have said Gruet, but apparently the correct pronunciation is Gruet because they are originally French settlers who came to this part of the world and started planting grapes. Now, the Gruet winery, it's really just a tasting room because they source their grapes from all over. Their grapes some of them actually come from Washington State. They come from other areas. They source them all over, which is not uncommon, especially in the making of bubbly. Now, we did go to their downtown tasting room in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we joined the wine club. I can tell you point blank that we sampled all of their sparkling. What you see in the store is mainly going to be this one. You might get lucky enough to find their Brut Rosé, which I actually enjoyed on my birthday yesterday with some fantastic shrimp scampi that my wife made for me. We've had some vintage. They do a vintage bubbly. We've had some other bubblies that they make, and they also make some still wines. They do a Cab Franc. They do a Pinot Noir. Now, in all fairness, I know that they source those grapes from other places, but they are made and shipped out of New Mexico. So cheers to them. They're a fantastic winery. If you want a new bubbly that you have not tried, and I know you've probably seen this one on the shelf, go get yourself a bottle of Gruet Brut and just start there. You can get it for under $20. I think. I haven't bought it in a while. I know. I can tell you what I got these for through my club discount. This was $12 a bottle. Can't beat that. So to them, cheers to them, and cheers to you. Let's move on to number 2. So we also had the chance while we were in Santa Fe to visit the downtown tasting room of a winery and distillery called Vara. Vara is a Spanish word for about this much, and I'm not kidding you. There was a Vara stick that they used to use back in the day when the Spanish settlers were there. It's like a yardstick. I don't want to say it's a yard, but you say a Vara means about this much. And we went into the New Mexico Museum and we found one of the Vara sticks, and it was about a yard long. So a Vara can mean it refers originally to a measuring stick. Now it's kind of used as it's kind of just a general kind of word like what's up. So Vara also makes wines that come from a few places. They mainly import their wines from Spain, and the wines are reds, whites. They make a sparkling rosé. They do a rosé, and I'm going to sample for you now. They're Albarino. and this Albarino. The grapes are from Spain, made in New Mexico. Very well done. So that's Vara. And the last wine that I want to sample for you is a wine that we found along the way in Dixon, New Mexico, which was between Santa Fe and Taos, which was about an hour north of Santa Fe. We saw this winery on the side of the road. I had not researched them, knew nothing about them. I went in and I bought a case of wine. Had it shipped home, and here are one of the reds. It's called Abbott Red New Mexico 2020. And after interviewing the winemaker, or one of the taste room helpers, all their wines are grown on site. That's a wonderful red blend. So finally, while we were at Vara, I'm going to go back, we had the opportunity to sample some of their spirits. And one of their spirits that they're very famous for, I actually found this gin on a food and wine top 20 gins in the United States. This wine consistently appears on their list. And I'm just going to read for you. It says Vara High Desert Gin is a natural for any variation of the Collins, Gimlet, or Fizz, and it will improve your favorite French 75 or Negroni, and it makes the best martini you will ever have. It's made from, they use grapes in the distilling process, so it's a grape-based spirit. I have pre-mixed a martini. It's already been stirred. Now it's being poured. Put our 3 olives in. Oh my. You cannot beat that. So on that note, my friends, cheers. And let me say, as I would tell you, Gruet is available in your liquor stores. These two, if you go online and order, the shipping is very inexpensive. If you want to get wild and crazy and impress your friends with some New Mexican wine, this is the way to do it. And this gin, it's a little expensive, $45 a bottle, but if you order 3, they'll ship it to you for free. If you're a gin addict like I am, I highly recommend it. Cheers, and we'll see you next time.